We all know the excitement from when we were in elementary school or middle school and we got to go on a field trip. And one of the most memorable field trips I've ever had was going to the New England Aquarium. And I remember we just finished looking at all the sea turtles and the seals, and we were sitting under the big whale skeleton eating lunch. And so I loved these places, don't get me wrong, but as I started getting older, I started wondering, how did these animals get here? Why were they here? And so in 7th grade, when I had the opportunity to do a research project, I focused in on animals in captivity, and from there really learned a lot about specifically seals in captivity. And the research I did horrified me. And I found out about how a lot of places keep seals alone, even though they are a species that thrives in a group setting, and that their behavior was causing suffering. And yes, it's very cool to see from these animals and learn from them, but the animals are getting restricted behaviorally, and this can cause them to die prematurely. And yes, we want to believe in the good in society. We want to believe these places and these organizations are really helping these animals. And we love to hear the rescue stories of the animals that are brought in and then released. And, you've all seen the turtle crawling down the sand. And really, the main goal of these places is to expose children and families to wildlife. And they get to learn about new species, they get to see what they eat, how they interact with other animals, and how they're going to get affected by climate change. And it really is able to give people a hands-on experience through things like touch tanks and educate everyone on climate change and how it will impact the things that we love. And people really won't protect what they don't know and what they don't love. And it creates this bond. And people want to save these species from extinction, which these organizations are claiming to do. They want to protect the beauty, and it's really interesting to see and learn from. A study in conservation biology said that there was increased biodiversity knowledge among those without even realizing it after visiting these places. However, what if these organizations are the problem and moving the problem forward? We're trusting these places that we don't know anything about. We don't know where their funds are coming from, how they get the animals there, what's happening when there aren't people there. And so actions really need to be taken to stop animals from the harmful activities that are bringing them into these places. And these places are mostly for human benefit, education, and fun. These animals can't express their natural behavior and interact with their environment because their natural environment cannot be replicated exactly in that way. And so when I was doing my research on seals socially bond to their choosing, and when they can't control their environment, this is considered to be a welfare factor. And so they start to exhibit stereotypical behaviors of going around in the same circles in their tanks. And so people introduce activities to stop their boredom, to get them to stop these behaviors like balls and treats and toys. But these places really don't have a motive behind it, and it's just kind of a guess and check basis. And so it's really teaching people that it's okay to interfere and it's acceptable to have these animals in here for our own benefit. And yes, they're claiming to save these animals from extinction, which is a very noble goal. However, in doing so, these animals are suffering physically and emotionally. The stress in captivity can cause them to die earlier, and because it restricts their natural behavior, this leads to mental and physical problems because of the minimal standards under the Animal Welfare Act. And also, the animals that they are trying to save are the exotic animals that will attract crowds, not local animals or smaller animals. And the breeding that they do to try and stop this can actually cause health effects and due to the limited gene pools that they have. And so one thing that you can do to support the rightful treatment of animals is, one, donating. So you can donate to the Seal Conservation Society, which is where a lot of my seal research came from. And this donation will help conserve and rehabilitate animals that have been in captivity. And also to stop going to centers where you can swim with the animals and take pictures, because that's not normal for them. They don't want to interact with humans. They want to interact with each other. And to not go to animal shows, because a lot of times those animals are being trained in a harmful way. We all know about SeaWorld and the orcas causing 3 human deaths, which is just because of the way they were treated in captivity. And to just look at aquarium mission statements before visiting, so you really know what that aquarium is all about and if they are really helping these animals.